Alrighty, old gatekeeper here. Just got done making my third or fourth repair on my heaters. Tell you what, man. Luckily, I have not had to buy me a heater in quite a few years because I keep being lucky enough to repair them. I've repaired that bad boy right there about 3 times now. Had to take the switch out of it. When it falls over, you know, it turns off. So it's just not a safe heater. And I had to repair 2 other things in it and installed some fans on the bottom of it too to blow some air out. I just had to bypass the thermostat in this one right here because it quit working because the thermostat switch went out. Goodness gracious. So anyway, we got a gray 200 right here, and this thing's in a mess. It really is. You can tell some irons have been in this thing for the last couple of years. There's a little bit of trace missing in places. These transformers are not wrapped with Teflon wire. I just can't, by good faith, work on it till I unwrap the non-Teflon wire from these transformers and wrap them with Teflon, which should be in there. This amp's old. I mean, I understand it is old. I've only worked on one of these so far. I just wish they would have used Teflon wire back then. So I'm going to rebuild it. I see this has the same issue that the last one had. The volts is a little high on the transformer. When I got it, this right here is a cold solder joint. We're going to be doing all the tuning over here though. And one of the filter caps were not soldered. I went ahead and soldered that back when I saw it. Honestly, I probably would have laid out some caps right here or something for the filter, and all you need is line out maybe 3 4700s, man, be fine. But these are how they made them, just like this right here, 2 10,000s, just like that, just kind of hanging there. I think they should have put this in just a bit of a bigger case. It's kind of neat the way the transformer is actually grounded to these points right here to the case. So your actual DC ground is coming through the case right here. Those are rectifiers as well. Some weird rectifiers. I've never seen them but on these boxes. Oh. Alright, I think I'm going to throw some 80-watt transistors in here, man. Hopefully pull that transformer's voltage down a little bit too. I'm going to try not to get too wild with it because I know you just want it working. Well, I could get in here and really spend some time, but I know we ain't trying to do that on this one. It's seen its years, no doubt about it. Somebody took the high-low medium switch off right there. So I guess I'm going to plug that up. He didn't give me any instructions on putting a variable or anything right there, so that's what I'm going to do with that. Just plug that up. See, there were 1446s in here somebody had put in here. One of them was blown. You got one of them that's still alive. It's pretty low HFE, but it's still alive. So I'm about to re-drill and tap. I can just sit in here and see the burrs. Goodness gracious. The burrs on them holes, man. Them transistors never were sitting flat. So I'm about to clean them holes out, get all the thermal paste out and re-drill them, man. Or, well, I ain't gonna re-drill them. I'm gonna re-tap them and hope to God that it survives, because the screws they had in there were not machine screws. They were a different type of screw that we don't use these days on transistors. You've seen them a bit back in the old days. But I think I should be able to. There were some pretty short screws, so I'll use some longer threaded number 6 screws. It should grab pretty good on down deeper in the heat sink. Alright, we'll be back when I'm done with this thing. Alright, Mr. Firecracker, got you all done, bud. This is the second gray 200 I've done. And there's some old amps, man, no doubt about it. I had to come here and do quite a few little small little things. There's all the parts that came out of it. One of these 1446s are still good. Kind of low HFE value, but still good. So I can give that back to you if you want. I pretty much just had to do a rebuild, man. Just build you a new 2-pill. Use some used Motorola 454s. So it's going to do a little bit more than what it was doing, just a little bit. As you can see, everything's new. The whole amp section is brand new, man, except, you know, of course the transistors are used transistors, but the transformers are still the original transformers, but all the other parts are brand new. And I tuned it out for you, and tuned the input and output out for you. And yeah, man, come together pretty good. I had to put a new sideband delay cap. About everything in here was a cold solder joint, man. It's kind of wild. I hate the way they didn't use Teflon wire in these older amps. I put some heat shrink on these, cleaned them up a little bit so I can have a better connection, more cleaner connection to all the points. I had to clean the amp up real good, give it a little acetone bath so it could take solder. It was quite nasty in here, so I cleaned it up pretty well for you. Put a new resistor on the RX light. I didn't even see if that RX light's working. The TX light, look at it, it is not working. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Give me 1 minute, let me fix that and I'll be right back. Alright, buddy, got the transmit light fixed for you. Put a blue one in there. Man, somebody was attempting to solder this thing. I'm talking about a millimeter worth of length of wire. You can see that's that they were trying to save that LED as much as they could. Put your little plug in there too. I think I got a plug that'll fit that good. Give me 1 second. All right, there you go. Got that plugged up for you. They say you won't have a hole there. All right. Be honest with you, man. If you're a sideband talker, you may just want to leave this sideband switch on, because honestly, it just gives you just a tad bit more delay. And you may even want to leave this switch on anyway on AM, because if you notice, like my radio's at 1 watt dead key. Okay, listen to the key of it. Hear the little tad bit of chatter when you unkey. Listen. All right, now I'm going to put on sideband delay. Now listen how clean the key is now. See the small, tiny delay? I would leave it like that if I was you. I mean, it really don't matter. I'll leave it off just for the video. So anyway, man, I just built you a 2-pill with a 454, old school 454s there. Luckily, I had 2 that matched in my bag of used transistors. So you wouldn't have to pay about $50–60 a transistor. So we got her working, man. Got her tuned out for you. We're using a 4-watt radio. Okay, 4-watt bench radio. Alright. Take a look at it on the RMS scale. 1000 watt slow. Oh, right there at 100 bird. Oh, yeah. Alright, take a look at the peak. Oh, yeah. Almost about 275, 280 watts. And it is a solid state 200. So you're getting about 80 more peak watts out of it than it's advertised on the front, I guess you can say. Here's your input reflect. Oh, beautiful. Really flat. Oh, yeah. And input and output, those are these capacitors right here. They tuned out pretty low. Sometimes they do when you're dealing with Motorola's. I'll tell you, man, a lot of these things had cold solder joints. This had a cold solder joint. The choke they had on your input, the choke they had for the bias choke on the transformer, it was a cold solder joint. It just lifted right up. They had an extra capacitor here on the SO239 trying to flatten out the, get some reflect out of there. It was a cold solder joint. It just pulled right off. I couldn't believe the amount of cold solder joints this thing had, man. It was something else. But this thing's working good now, man. I put a 10 ohm resistor right here. If you ever felt like you wanted to use this for a driver and have a little bit more control of the input, you could put you a variable in here. You have to run you some coax, 2 pieces of coax from here over to the variable. But it's got a good low dead key. If you take a look at it, we've got a 1 watt dead key going into it. See, real good low dead key. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh yeah. Hey, what's this thing talking, man? We just cruising out here with this 260, 280 watts. Get down, get down. Now, the only downfall and flaw about these gray 200s is this. Let me explain. I have no earthly idea. Oh, by the way, another cold solder joint was the positive leg on these 2 filter caps. It wasn't a cold solder joint. It just wasn't soldered. It had broke off. And that could have had something to do with blowing the transistors, man, if it was being ran that way. I mean, you do have a little filter cap right here, but I don't know if it was enough to have some good, you know, clean DC voltage going to the transistors. But one of the negative things about these amplifiers is they are pretty high voltage transformers in these things, man. I don't know why in the world they picked them like that. On the last one I did, I regulated it. On the last one, I regulated it because, and it was some work, man. I think I had just enough room to kind of mount the transistors right here on this part of the heatsink right here, drill and tap. I think I had a 15 volt regulator over here in this section. I think I stacked up some filter caps or whatever, but I think I had a 15 volt regulator right here. I think I had a driver pass transistor with 2 10 amp pass transistors right there. And I mean, I was able to fit everything just fine. And I was thinking, you know, a better, more efficient regulating system to regulate this thing down is I'd probably drill a hole right here and just put a metal, like a 15, 20 amp metal pass transistor right there, and put the rest of the regulating circuit down here. But I mean, you shouldn't have to go to all that trouble. It's just a high voltage transformer, man. I mean, you ask yourself, if you put more of a load on it, will it help? But the thing about it is, once you get past the duty cycle, like let's say this transformer is a 17 volt transformer, for example. Once you get past 17 volts, under 17 volts, you're past the duty cycle and you're sucking the transformer clean. Like right now, just with these 454s hitting it, it's sucking to about 15.8 volts. You know, it's pretty high on the voltage, but that's just what this amp does, man. Before, just with 1446s, you're sitting on about 17 volts. I remember the last one that I did had 2 455s in it, and it was sitting at about 17.5 volts. That's why I went to the trouble to regulate. That was my personal amp, though, so I took a couple extra multiple hours to do that, and that was my first little project where I actually regulated something. So that was pretty fun. Alright, man. She's all ready to go, man, and working for you. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for your patience. We'll go ahead and do a quick video on your next amp right here. So let me press pause and I'll be right back. Alright, brother, we had already talked about this one, man. I think this is probably one of the quickest repairs I've done, probably, man. I guess somebody had, this cap had blew for some reason, and somebody put in a 4700 microfarad cap, which pretty much made this box not able to key properly. So I just removed that, put the proper size cap there. The only other change I saw was somebody had a 47 ohm resistor right here, and it pretty much left you with no dead carrier whatsoever, even up to 2 or 3 watts dead key. I don't really know why somebody had put that there. This is actually a 150 ohm potentiometer, so you've got a lot of play with that. So if you feel like you need a lower dead key, you can just turn that potentiometer back. You got a good amount of control over that. So here is the amp working properly. Alright, this is the potentiometer all the way up. As you can see, real good low dead key. Oh, right there about 75. Bird. PEP. Oh, almost 180 watts. You can't see what it's called on the front of it, but you got 2 old school Motorola 455s in here, and she's a working. This is a Class C box. You know what? You know something I just noticed, brother? The choke has broke off from the back of this transformer. Let me press pause real quick. I never even noticed that before. That's why whenever you're doing a repair, it's always good to even double and triple check something when you're working. I can tell right here, if you can see right there. Let me kind of zoom in right there. You see right there, there was a choke that went there to the back of the transformer, and as you can see right here, the transformer is grounded to this pad. So basically we need to put a choke right here. Let me press pause and add. Alright, got you a choke added on there, man. Right there. So you need a Class C choke. Yeah, this is a Class C box, and the Gray 200 over there is a Class C box as well. I don't know why somebody removed that, but somebody did. That's usually a choke right there. I don't know if I've ever seen a blown bias choke before, but somebody had removed it. You never know, they might have been trying to do that to try to get the dead key either up or lower. You never know, man. But it's got a choke on it now, so that's all that counts. And putting the choke on there, it did raise the dead key up just a bit, which is kind of unique. Well, no, it ain't unique. Thinking about it, one thing that would really make the dead key go up high is just straight grounding this with no RF choke. But so it did increase the dead key up a little bit, as you can see. Oh dear. Oh dear. You see, all you gotta do is take the variable. Oh dear. There you go. Oh, yo, what's this thing talking? The old gatekeeper cruising out here on this dummy load. Break, break, break. Alright, man. So she's working too, man. Glad to get these things working for you, bud. And again, thanks for being patient with me, man. I've been backed up for a while now, but I'm making good progress, and I will be out of this hole soon here in the next couple of months. The old gatekeeper out here around the northeast end of Georgia. I'm good and gone. Appreciate you, firecracker. Bye, bye, bye.